Oh, the electricity went out, and it's like, oh no, here we go again, you know, it's a squirrel or
Oh, yes, of course.
something, you know, it was our wiring. And then we got the phone call. Now. Right?
Okay. All right. Good evening. I'm going to call the Plan Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019 at 6 o'clock p.m. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Groff? Here. Commissioner Pearden?
Nope. Oliver.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
Alderman Kabaki? Mayor Shiverani?
Here.
Commissioner Jocks?
Here.
Commissioner Buckmaster?
Here.
Commissioner Bartlett? Planner Tracy Witowski?
Here.
So Commissioner Bartlett and Kubaki are absent. Statement of public notice.
The agenda was posted and distributed to all news media requesting notification in accordance with the open meeting laws on Friday, August 30th, 2019.
Thank you. And we have approval of the minutes from August 6th.
Move to approve?
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on those minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. And then we have consent business.
Resolution PC 052, 2019, approval of an accessory structure for Ryan Peak located on Harvest Court. Resolution PC 055, 2019, approval of a two-lot certified survey map for Michael Mahalski on Adrian Drive.
Move to approve, Ambrose.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda items approved unanimously. New business for consideration, PC 51, conceptual plat for discussion of a 38-lot residential subdivision located at the northwest corner of Preagle Drive and Durham Drive.
Move
So,
to approve?
no, we don't need any.
Yeah, we don't
It's
need a
just a conceptual discussion. And Adam?
Thanks, Mayor. So this proposal tonight is kind of just to get the ball rolling and for Jim Doring of Town Realty to kind of present in front of you tonight what they're looking at as far as their next development here in the city of Muskego. What they're proposing is a 38-lot single-family subdivision on a property owned by the May family. So right now we're just calling it the May property. This is located just northwest of the intersection of Preagle Drive and Durham Drive. It is located pretty much just north of Astor Hills Estates, which was also developed by Town Realty. As far as history goes, there was a previous rezoning request submitted for this property back in 2006. That time, the proposal was for 49 lots over about 47.7 acres. Minimum lot sizes were 18,000 square feet with an average width of 100 feet. The density proposed at that time equated to about 1.03 units an acre. At that time, the comprehensive plan, which was the 2010 plan, was in place, would have had to have been modified to medium density residential. Currently, the land use plan calls for low density residential in that area. At that time, a formal public hearing was held. There were some concerns at that time raised because lot sizes were a little bit smaller than what being proposed here today, quite a bit smaller. And the request actually got withdrawn by the applicant and didn't proceed. Now, after the success of Astor Hills, Town Realty has kind of looked at doing a similar proposal of what you see at Astor Hills on this land now. So the new concept is 38 units on 38.1 acres. And that does fall within or very, very, very close to the low density residential, and we'll talk more about that density in a second. They are asking for a planned development zoning district, which would utilize the overall density of the development while preserving open space on the western portions of the development. A base zoning district hasn't been formally noted by the applicant, but based upon what they're proposing with lot sizes and widths, it would appear that they were looking at an RS2 as a base density, and that is the same type of density zoning base that was used for Astor Hills. The proposed lots in this new concept are at least 5,000 square feet larger or more than those proposed in the old concept back in '06. The concept plan, like I said, is 31.8 acres, and in that comprehensive plan, the 2020 does show low density. Low density basically says up to 0.99 units per acre. When you break down the proposal, depending where you go with rounding, staff's recommendation is that a little bit more land, 0.3 acre more, so 38.4 acres, may be needed to truly not exceed the 0.99 unit density. It kind of comes into how you're doing your rounding. But it would be very safe to say that 38.4 acres would definitely not exceed the 0.99 units per acre. It could be questioned if it exceeds it, depending how you round, if you're doing it at 31.8 acres. So that's something that could be figured out as this would proceed. But if it does, especially with the 38.4 acres, would definitely meet that land use plan density. The remaining 30 plus or minus acres that lie between this development and Big Muskego Lake to the west would be remain owned by the May family for any future use they wish. And that's not technically part of this plan. This plan would be the subdivision along with the western outlot that would be for stormwater and open space purposes. The developer is proposing extending municipal services to this development, so it would be connected to sanitary sewer via a lift station on Durham Drive, and water connections would be both through Durham and Priegel to loop the system through the development. Engineering department would obviously review any of those future connections as well as any kind of stormwater needs that would have to be met. They will have to meet all current MMSD and DNR stormwater regulations. One item worth noting is that there is some floodplain on the western portion of the development. It does not appear that it should affect anything with the lots, but it will have to be field verified so we know exactly where it is, but it appears to be contained to the outlot areas. Otherwise, now the Plan Commission can kind of have any discussion. You know, the developer submitted this today. As you know, with conceptual reviews, there is no formal yes or no, there's no vote. It's really meant for a discussion for the developers so that they can take comments with them and know how they should proceed. So Jim is here from town if you guys have any questions for him.
Okay, and real quick, the record will reflect that Commissioner Bartlett just arrived. Okay, any questions? I figured you would, because you were involved back in the day, I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How sure are we on the wetlands? So if they were different and encroached on a lot, I guess I would not be in favor then of any wetlands on the private property. So if that was to happen, and then on the existing area, that would all conform to RS2, right?
Yeah, the lot size proposals are actually above an RS2 requirement. Right. They're using that kind of as a base, but yeah, they're larger than RS2 would even require. RS2 only requires 20,000. I think the average, Jim, was at least they're small, so like 23,000, right? And they go up from there. Yeah. There's some that are even closer.
23 in that matched what we did at Astor Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And Astor Hills is the one that's great.
It would be just south if you're looking.
Jim, you want to come up to the microphone? I think it's on, I don't know.
Is that one on?
If not, you got to turn.
Yeah, it kind of backs up to North Cape and Priegel. If you look at the map in front of you, just kind of south, if you go down a little bit left.
Right as you turn.
Yeah, right in there, yep.
Yeah.
There's a park right there, Sandhill Park.
Okay. And
yep.
that one that's similar in the RS2, right?
Yeah, same thing as what they're looking at here.
We're looking to mirror the exact same planned unit development
When
concept.
we did that one, so if I recall, then, yeah, because if you're gonna follow that pattern, because we already went through the grill work on that, on Astor Hills, so if you follow that, based on what I saw here, as long as the wetlands didn't encroach on private property, the reason is that once wetland is on private property, it's never gonna be a wetland again, so, looking at that, Astor Hills, and yeah, I can't think of any issue other than just that wetland portion.
And if you don't mind, I'll address the wetland question. When you're looking at your map, lot 1, which is up near the entry off of Durham Drive, the DNR has classified that as an artificial wetlands. Because of the stormwater management that was put in place when Durham Drive was rebuilt, there is a culvert right there, and the water coming through that culvert is the source of that water sitting and creating that wetland. So we are still waiting for the Army Corps of Engineers determination if they have jurisdiction. But if they determine they do not, because of the DNR classifying that as an artificial wetlands, we wouldn't even have to seek a fill permit.
That I would agree with you.
Yep.
If that's based on stormwater management and it's artificial, I'm not worried about that.
Yep,
The
and-
ones that here, yeah.
Yeah,
The stuff on
and then
the-
down by Priegel, well, let me address down by Priegel Drive, down by lots 36 and 37. There's a small wetland area in the ditch along Priegel Drive. We believed it was artificial because there's a culvert under Priegel, which transfers water from this farm field to the wetlands to the south, which was part of Astor Hills Estates. The DNR did not agree with that. They did not feel it was a choke point, but because of the size of that, we would be able to seek a general fill permit for those wetlands. And as you can see, we would, through engineering, push the building pads off so the wetlands would not be within the building pad. We'd seek a fill permit so it becomes someone's yard. The only other wetlands we would have to deal with would be the extension of Priegel Drive, west of